Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today, my name is Natasha, but not just today, every day. And we're going to talk about things that are relevant to me, which is pretty convenient since it's my channel. But as you saw the title, we're going to talk about the worst kept secret on the internet, and that is everybody's feet. And so, um, yeah, what I do want to say, which is the most important thing about showing feet on the internet, is that if you came here to see my paraplegic infected toes, you can go make it to some other channel today. If you are here because you actually want to either hear what I have to say or just, sit with me in solidarity, then welcome. We're going to talk about the feet and why I don't feel so great right now. And I hope that you, if you're not in this situation yet, take this and never do that to yourself. And if you have already been here, I am so sorry. I'm quickly learning. I don't want to learn anymore, but that is the unfortunate part about the life subscription is you don't get to opt out of certain parts of life. It just all happens if you want it, and I want it. So we're here. And we're going to use these guys as my toes from now on. I'm not quite sure what's up with the feet thing because I don't have that problem. I do know that they say that what happens to people who are really obsessed with feet is that the part of their brain that recognizes genitalia, they're swapped with feet. But at no point, whenever I see genitalia, do I get excited. I turn off the lights and I get under the covers. Yeah. Nothing about seeing genitalia out in public would make me excited. That maybe it is because I'm a woman, but just seeing somebody's man or woman's just out there. I've been to a nude beach. Not a fan. Gonna come back to my house in the woods and not see anyone. But on that note, what has landed me in this situation? It is actually seeing people and wanting to look decent. And that is some sort of vanity I didn't actually realize that I had. I have shown on this channel, if you haven't seen it, the gloves that I wear out, and they're just orange work gloves. They're not fashionable. So when it comes to my feet, I was very, very, very adamant that I was not going to size up. No matter if my feet were swelling, I would just stay the same size because I don't want my feet to grow any bigger. I heard swelling, not thinking anything other than they just swell. Like, I totally understood that, yes, you can get pressure sores from them crunching on the sides of the shoe. I just figured if I started to get one, that I would just stop and we'd see how it went. And turns out what actually happens is when you put a shoe on that has a narrow toe box, which is the culprit. Pretty much all women's shoes are narrow in the toe box. And so this guy, your feet are supposed to be, nice toes, just touching, but you shove them into here and they do kind of like this thing, that extra pressure. Once you have a slowed down blood supply, so it's not just because I'm a paraplegic, it can happen to people for any reason, any medical condition that makes it so that your blood flow has slowed. And what that means is that your toenails grow backwards. They can grow into the side. They just grow wrong. And then also when you shove them into a non-porous shoe like this, and then you put some socks on and you do that for hours and hours and hours, turns out you create a beautiful a breeding ground for bacteria and fungus to just come in on vacation, and then, like squatters in New York, never leave. It's unfortunate. And so what has ended up happening with my toe, and like why I'm not feeling so hot, is that I've got a raging infection and I got a toenail that I don't think is going to make it to the podiatrist. I did do, as you should, go seek a medical professional's opinion. I went and saw a primary care doctor. He wanted to rip my toenail out. We're all keyboard warriors at this point. We know that we have access to all sorts of information, and I had already looked up, and I'm sure if you are familiar, that that's actually the last case scenario you should do for a paraplegic. Is like, you should not just rip it out. You should do everything but first. Because I had not even tried a round of antibiotics yet. And so I opted to say, no, thank you. I would like to see a podiatrist if that is the case. And then we'll go from there. Because it is up to you to make sure you advocate for yourself. And when somebody like a primary care doctor who is unfamiliar with autonomic dysreflexia and has never heard of it says he wants to rip your toenail out, you can hit the brakes and say that you're not comfortable with that and you need to seek a specialist, because that is what everything on Google has told you to do. And it doesn't matter if they roll your eyes on you. You are here to protect you. And as far as like who's responsible, doctors, I think at this point, I collectively kind of think that they consider themselves a charity. Like, we just show up and pay them to hear them speak because they are worth that. And I feel like they're getting paid for a service. And if they're not actually doing a good job, you don't have to pay them anymore. You go to somebody else. And then as far as like who's responsible for what, whoever is making the most money is the most responsible. And when you count like an individual situation, I am the one that receives the most amount of my money. So I am the one that's responsible for me. But by paying somebody else, whoever else is making the most money off of me is responsible for whatever I pay them to do. That's part of the agreement. Doctors do not get paid to be a therapist. That's what therapists are for. Doctors are paid to be doctors, which I think that they might just be gateways to prescriptions like antibiotics at this point. But we'll go back to talking about the shoe choices. I'm going to show you some shoes that have landed me in this position, but I can still easily wear. Some shoes that I cannot practically wear. And then the shoes that I kind of should be wearing. And maybe you should too, no matter what they look like. So, obviously, ankle boot. Very cute. Very easy to wear. You can unzip this dude so you can actually get your foot into it, because if this was just a normal boot, if you can't access this part to make sure your foot's going in straight, you can see this with your toes. Even if you like have socks on and you pull them a little tight at the top, it'll make your toes do this. And if you're trying to get your foot down into a shoe and it has no, like, you cannot flex your foot yourself, all you're doing is this, and it's not going anywhere. So you need to be able to get in here, put your foot in and straight and flat. And I do like these much better than like a full boot, because as far as like taking them off to like cat, so much easier. But do I still wear these guys? Absolutely. I have long hooker boots, the Han Solos. I had them in black also. But it's just, I live in the frozen north. When you have snow outside and it's all wet and it's muddy like 6 months of the year, you end up getting boots. Why? Because if you don't, any jeans that you wear, all of the outside, like the first 2 inches of it, will just be mud where you're walking all the time. That's not fun. And it's wet. It's gross. But Same concept, full zipper, full access. If you just get a full boot and expect to like get your foot all the way down into it, you are just literally gonna be hitting the bottom. There is no way for you to get your foot in there unless you are really, really crafty and you can figure out how to like get yourself some access and close that back up. Which is also the same reason I can never wear this shoe again. This guy does not actually have a tongue. It's just one piece, but if you can't really see it because it's got these on here, which wasn't a problem before. I can't get my foot in it. It just goes straight down, which is sad because I love these. But I can still wear these. These are running shoes. Obviously, I opted out of cardio. No more running for me. Unless it's like, I still have to do cardio. I still have the exercise bike. Still have to take care of the body, but can get fully into this. But this one, you would think that this would be ideal. It has good ventilation. Get your toes in. Like plenty of space for your poor little pinky toes. But what? It doesn't have anything to connect to your ankle. So what happens when you transfer with these guys? Pretty much you go to transfer, you flip your foot. That's exactly what it does. And it's so far. The force that you generate transferring, that shoe is nowhere close to you. You are not going to be able to easily go get it. It is gone. If anyone was happened to be sitting in that direction or standing, you have now hit them. Which, if you're trying to do that on accident purpose, now you know. And you just say you're sorry. It was an accident. Don't do that. But it's an option. This guy. This is actually how I have given myself the second biggest injury after I broke my back. Because you would think it's flat, it's a wedge, it's small. There's nothing that can happen. But if you see kind of like the bottom, it's got a very narrow area where you are putting your weight on. And when you have a foot plate, one, if you're an adult, if you're a child, this might not be the same, or if you have very small feet, your foot plate is bigger than your shoe. Almost in all situations. Which means part of it is going to be hanging off. And your foot plate is also angled, which means your foot at any time is not going to have perfectly flat weight on it. So your foot does this, or this, or this. And then when you transfer, this has nowhere to support your ankle, and it just does this. And that is, I ended up with like a baseball sized bruise just because I thought that this was easy to transfer in. I did not have any infection problems when I was trying it. It was just summer and I wanted to look nice. How dare I? Now, the next shoe is an ankle boot. And this is where we get into a territory where this is actually a size bigger. I did actually, embrace that. But I bought it offline and I didn't realize this heel was as big as it was. Now, what does that mean? My ankle does still kind of do this, but this fully encompasses your ankle. So it's not able to bend like it would in the wedge. I have not had any problems with it yet. Could this be considered a shoe I shouldn't wear anymore? I would say yes. Am I going to keep rolling the dice and wearing it because I like them and I still like to look nice? Yeah. But this is definitely back to the don't take my advice, just learn from my experiences and take with it what you will, because my advice landed me up in a wheelchair. Don't do that. Same with like this heel. Now, can I get it on? Does it have ankle support? Yes. but same concept. Now, if you're only sitting there and you only want to look nice and you're going to take them off to transfer and like put something else on, excellent. Your heel is going to have to hang off the back of the foot plate. Otherwise, it will just like, it just falls over. It doesn't look pleasant. But what I tell my foot whenever it's doing things like that is, if it didn't want me to abuse it, maybe it should listen to me. This is a simple thing. It doesn't have a brain though, so it doesn't seem like logic doesn't work on it. I just have to embrace that. But yes, this guy, I will never wear it again. Like, it doesn't matter how long I've owned it. It's worn anyway. I'm just embracing the fact that I will never be wearing heels. Just smallish platforms, flat sandals. But some sandals, when you are looking at like where your toes are, if you've had the pleasure of actually like knowing what your shoes feel like, as a girl, we have sometimes bought in cheap shoes that don't fit correctly. And if you're wearing strappy sandals or wedges that are going to eat your pinky toes, one, that can set off an AD response, autonomic dysreflexia. Two, it's just, why bother? You have enough things going on your plate. And it's like this wedge. As we've already covered, what do we know already? That's much too high. It's way higher than the one that kind of broke my ankle a little bit. But it does have an ankle strap. You do have to keep it all the way off the back of the foot plate to make sure that just your toes are on it, to make it so that your legs aren't doing this. Could you potentially wear it and then get out of them before you transfer? Yeah. Does that sound like too much work and I have other things to do in my life than just change shoes every couple hours? Yes. Yes, I do. Which that means we have my future. I am now a Croc wearer. So, what do we know about foot fungus? A bacteria does not like dry. It wants your foot to be moist. It wants it to not have oxygen. It wants a happy little environment. So you refuse to give it to that. These are washable. They have good ventilation. If you have sweaty feet, it'll keep them dry. If you have cold feet, it will mean that you have perpetually cold feet, which I'm sure that has its own problems. But right now, I'm just trying to get over this infection and get back to real life, because unfortunately, being a paraplegic, I can't just, drop it whenever bad things happen to me. It hits a lot harder, which is why, you just have to decide at some point, what is your priority? Is your priority work? Is it your health? Mine is work, number one. And then number two is taking care of myself so I can continue to pay my bills, because I do need to continue to support those doctors' charities. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. So regardless though, you can get them in any color you want. You can wear open-toed sandals, but I feel like it is designed with the health foot in mind. The healthy foot, I should say, rather. I'm good at English. And not a lot of fashion. It has a wide toe box, so even if your feet swell, it can expand even without sizing up. I do recommend getting, what I've done is I got my normal size and then a size up. Because at some point, if I feel like my feet have swollen too much throughout the day and I can't, actually lay down and put my feet up yet, then I will just switch it to the next size up. That way, nothing squishing my toe, no weird toe growth. I'll have to let you know how it goes, since this is obviously a recent thing, because right now I'm working on trying to lose this toenail. I am still seeking medical advice on it, however, but podiatrist, I still have about 11 days before the appointment. So it's just how it is. You can go see a primary care doctor, you can go to urgent care, and you can roll the dice that, or you can wait for like a specialist, which that involves like, a month and a half to 6 months wait sometimes. I feel like I was lucky and they got me in about, it's going to be about 21 days, 3 weeks. And that's all you can kind of ask. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the only one that's having an emergency. It's a toe. It's not that big of an emergency. And when you put it into the perspective of life, is it sad I'm losing the toenail? Yeah, sure. It's just another thing on the pile of things that just like keep needing to be addressed. And you just gotta address the most important first. And if you ignore some of the other ones, absolutely indulge in ignoring. It's a great time. And again, as I said before, not a medical professional. This is advice given on the internet. Take it with a grain of salt. Do what's best for you. But as far as the shoes go, just get a size up. Take care of your feet. Keep them dry. And if you are still here and watch the videos, even though I didn't show you my phalanges, if that is phalanges your toes, or is that just your fingers? I'm gonna Google that, but I'm not gonna edit it out, so you can enjoy the fact that I don't know yet. But if you are watching, if you are wanting to watch more videos, pretty much it's just gonna be definitely slow for a little bit while I get over this and try and get better. It's just one of those things as an adult. You gotta work a full-time job. I have animals, and then I am the most needy animal that I have. And then possibly I'm not gonna be able to say that I'm living alone anymore in the near future, which is in itself daunting, but it might be nice. And then we can talk about dating as a paraplegic, because it did happen and it has been happening. But regardless, I love you all. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you next time.